This is some bullshit. Hey there guys, I'm back! Want to know which phone does better in low light between the Xperia 1 and the Pixel 3? Keep watching and find out next. Hey there guys, welcome back to a new Pixel Peepers video. Sorry for the couple of months I've been away. I had some problems to sort out. But now we're back, alive and kicking. This is my first video of this summer. The much awaited Sony Xperia 1 on my right and the Pixel 3 on my left. This is 1080p, 30 frames per second in low light. This is me walking. Stabilization seems pretty good on both phones. Detail seems a bit better on the Pixel, but let me know what you think. Also, let me know what you think about the sound recording. Is it better on the Sony or on the Google phone? And this is 4K, still at 30 frames per second. The Pixel doesn't record in 60 frames per second in 4K. It seems that Sony has better detail, or at least that's what I see on my phone screens. Stabilization is very good on both phones. Sony seems to have a slight frame tearing when I pan the video, but it remains to be seen when I check out the videos on my computer. Also, the field of view is much wider on the Sony. And this is 1080p, still at 30 frames per second. The Sony on my right, the Pixel on my left. I will not record with the Sony in HDR video mode because it would be unfair for the Pixel. And the videos are shot with the main camera app, not with the dedicated professional camera app that Sony has. I will do that in a following video to check out the maximum you can get with the Sony. Also, let me know what you think about the stabilization with these two phones. In 1080p I think the Sony is better. Well, let's start with the front-facing video, and in low light I must say I like the Pixel better. It is better exposed for my face with better color tones for my skin. Detail is also slightly better on the Pixel's front camera. Sony has a more stable front-facing video with better quality sound, but overall, for late night vlogging, I would go for the Pixel. When analyzing 4K videos, we immediately spot major differences. First, exposure levels are night and day. Pixel overexposes the entire frame, blowing up some highlights and introducing much noise to the video. Sony just slightly underexposes, but it maintains the night feeling of the scenery, also keeping the video much sharper with better details and low noise levels. But Pixel does a better job with 4K stabilization, no doubt. In 1080p, Sony greatly improves its stabilization, managing to be even better than the Pixel, but it loses sharpness and fine detail in the process. Also, I would have liked Sony to slightly expose the scene brighter. Neither phone manages to give accurate colors though. Overall, I will take the Pixel for the front video and back 1080p video, and Sony for the higher resolution 4K back camera low light video. Keep in mind, Sony has Cinema Pro camera app, HDR video and 3 different focal lengths it can shoot the videos with, so overall it offers much more flexibility. Moving on to photos, I want to mention that I tried only to compare apples with apples, so I didn't use Pixel's wide front-facing camera and also I didn't use Sony's ultra-wide and telephoto cameras. Starting with the front-facing camera, the Sony seems to do a better job for me. It delivers a sharper photo, better exposed, but with more noise, especially in background. Pixel is flatter, cleaner, but lacks the definition the Sony camera delivers. For the back camera, we shot a standard and a night sight photo with the Pixel, and for the Sony we used auto settings for one photo and manual HDR without changing any other settings for the second photo. And as a general result, we can see the following. First, the major loser in most of the photos here is the Pixel 3 in auto mode. It has very high noise levels, especially in the shadows, and the exposure doesn't help either, delivering pretty dark photos. Colors sometimes are well balanced, but other times they have a green cast all over the frame, so pretty inconsistent. Switching to night sight on the Pixel, the noise problem is mostly fixed and exposure gets a big boost. Sometimes it helps, making for a brighter shot with more details in the dark, but other times it goes overboard and turns the night into day. Also, night sight greatly changes the white balance, correcting the warm yellow tones of the night lights into much colder color tones. Sometimes this is a good thing, but most of the times it loses the dark mood of the night photography. But what about Sony? Well, the Xperia 1 finally can hold its own in low light compared to the best phones out there. And you have two modes to choose from, depending on what you prioritize. If you prioritize detail, sharpness and extremely low noise levels, go for the auto mode. But keep in mind that Sony, opposed to what the industry does lately, doesn't care much for computational photography and dedicated night modes. So the auto mode shot will deliver a pretty dark photo, with cross shadows and clipped highlights, just like we see in real life. If you are more of a dedicated night mode user, you can use manual HDR option that does just that. It exposes the scene much brighter, delivering detail in shadow areas that you cannot see with the naked eye. But it has the trade-off of losing detail and sharpness, and sometimes introduces motion blur in fast-moving subjects. But it is nice to have this option available, even if not many people know it is available and know what it does. All in all, my conclusion is this. Last year, with the XZ3 and the XZ2 Premium, Sony was a little behind the curve in low-light photography. But this year, Sony changed the game, using a bigger sensor with much larger pixel, OIS and a brighter aperture. And it shows, managing to deliver great low-light shots. And for the people out there that enjoy night modes like the ones on the Huawei, Samsung or Pixel, Sony has an answer. It's that manual HDR option. It needs some tweaking, but it can hold its own, no doubt. That being said, I will leave you watch the rest of this comparison, and until our next video for daylight, this is Pixel Peepers signing out.